Hello everyone, I am the Canadian Gaming Penguin. The final phase of the Ishgardian Restoration began on Tuesday, January 12th, 2021, and will continue on until your world completes it. So at whichever date that is. During the wee hours of Saturday morning, I was able to participate in the Western Risensong Quarter second stage last shift fate on my own world, aka server, Marlborough. Of course, this was in the wee hours of the morning, so I couldn't actually talk while recording this without disturbing peoples. So what I'll be doing is a bit of a voiceover of what I was thinking of while the fate was going on. For the most part, however, I won't be talking. Towards the end of the video, I'll be doing a bit of a tour around the area to see the changes and to see if there are any NPCs with dialogue, which of course there was, and what amusing things they might say. The video begins with me waiting around with what I assumed was people that knew where the fate would be starting. And it turns out I was in exactly the right spot, as we will see shortly. I missed most of the Phase 3 fates, and basically Phase 3 contribution, etc, so I wasn't actually sure where the new area was, and you will see the map popping up shortly. And if you want to see more of it, you'll have to pause it because for some reason I didn't have it open for very long. I decided to eat some bread while I waited, and thus the fate begins. Woohoo! As you can see, I was right by the supply pile and the workstation, so let's start the repair work. At this point I knew that that was the last repair site, so I started looking to see where it might be, and I noticed on the top left of the map there was an area, so I'll open up the map as you can see and check to see where the other places were for the repair sites. I also saw the other workstation and the supply area on the map when I opened it up. I then spotted the little area to the right over there, as you see, which is where I head to next. At this point, I had decided that I would continue on with these two little areas for the repair site, even though I had already reached the point where I would get full rewards for the fate, because I believe you only need to contribute 5. So I decided I would continue on until I got 10. I would then move to the upper area to see if there was less players there and to see the view, etc. Of course, while I was on this repair site, I noticed someone with the new minion from the new dungeon, and this is a minion that I really want, and I have not been able to get through the dungeon myself, and I don't know how expensive it is on the market board. If it is up on the market board, it's probably expensive. I had actually noticed a number of players with the minion, but it was at that point that I decided to point out that I had noticed it. So I was on the 10th one and I was going to be heading up to that next area, and as you can see there was also the supply pile and the workstation there as well. And onwards, upwards I go. As you can see, other people were also on their way up as well. And since I had so much time, I decided to stop over here. Let an expert show you how it's done. I thank you for your wisdom, my friend. You have potential, I'll say that much. So with this last one, I decided this would be the last one and that I would try to find the best vantage point to see the change that would occur after the fate was completed. And I could see that obviously up here and down there that there would be changes because that's where the repair sites were. So I head back down to see if there would be a good view to look upwards. And as you'll see shortly, I decide that no, the vantage point up there would be the best. Excellent, the work's just about done. You've all earned a good rest. Yay, the fate is almost done. So I start jumping up and down, and because obviously you can see that people are rendering and unrendering, etc., all of a sudden this potato is jumping beside me too. And I'm like, when did they get there? And then I can see them dancing, so I start turning the camera and I'm like, I have all my names displays hidden right now, so I hope it wasn't someone who actually knew me or was my FC and whatnot, and then they ran away, so I'm like, oh okay. Second stage works for the Western Risensong Quarter are complete. Well done, everyone. Now it's time to prepare for the next, so let's keep the supplies coming, eh? So you can definitely see some changes right away. And off I go to explore to see the different changes and to see if any of the NPCs are around. And of course there will be. I was also checking to see if there was any person hanging off the edge like there had been in the first and second phases. Fortunately for that individual, I think he is learned from his lessons of standing so close to the edge and isn't anymore. But I decided to look anyway, and we'll see him eventually later on. And heading down here, we will see our first NPCs as we turn to the right and go up to this estate area. Report to me as soon as your task is done, ya hear? Got it, miss. And said miss, this looks familiar, but I couldn't figure out from what or who or where. But now that I'm thinking about it, she kind of reminds me of the not Gunbreaker, the machinist character, but is not her. And we can see there is a pretty nice view down from this part here, and you can see people having a snowball fight, and eventually one goes kersplat. And that's a really nice view right there, too. So I take a moment to see the different view. And we head downwards some more, and we notice, and by we I mean I, of course, that I'm following the Solifel yet again, because I'm pretty sure we were following him before. Anyways, but we noticed that there's a few more marketplaces like with the previous area, which I didn't have any videos of because, as I mentioned, I missed basically all of Phase 3. And I forgot I turned off my UI at this point, so I'm like, oh, these aren't NPCs. Or are they? Surely they are. Okay, well this one is definitely one, and he's walking through the ground again. He did that the last time, and now he can float through the ground and he's up where he should be. Well, except for his feet. And we'll see the kersplatted player who decided to get up just as I got there. And it was at this point that I'm like, okay, this guy has to be saying something. Oh wait, I turned off my UI just a little while ago. Those other people are NPCs, so let's go there and see what they were saying. I'd best place a new order before we run out of supplies. I'll prepare it at once. And moving back over to the sculpture person. The masses may not appreciate it, but this will be my greatest masterpiece yet. Which is what he says every time he makes a new masterpiece. So as I said, you can see there's the 3 stalls, and then a little bridge, well, tunnel rather, under the staircases, and let's see what else needs doing. Just leave it to me. Nothing else. So exciting. And at this point, I look over here and see if there's anything else, because there's that statue guy person again. We will see that there is a whole bunch of areas, so I had already determined before the fate began that we were likely working from top down in some ways for the whole area for this phase. So you can see as I'm running past to see if you can actually get over there, which you can't, and don't look down, don't look down, don't look, darn it all. So I'm like, let me guess, big drop. So as I adjust the camera and move back over, yeah, don't look down. Not that we have any fear of falling, because it wouldn't let us anyway, but yeah, don't look down. And as I can see, you can't get over there, and I knew down the other way you wouldn't be able to, but I decided to check just in case. I figured you couldn't because, well, you couldn't really access it beforehand. And as you could just see a moment before I opened up the map there, and you can see that the map changed as well, that it's more filled out, so to speak, because there's staircases now rather than just the scaffolding for building purposes. And so on my way back up to the top to see the new changes to the top areas. And of course, some of these NPCs are around all the time because these particular areas are in fact already completed. Or, well, completed to the extent of what we know anyway. And of course, it's around this point that my recording decides to start getting a little laggy. And gets worse later on, which I'll point out again, because I started to take some screenshots. Yay me! Unfortunately, that is towards the end of the tour. So, we're back in the Risensong Quarter, and we see the aforementioned guy who used to hang over the edges. How am I supposed to read these chocobo scratches? Are you not perchance holding that backwards? Now, let's take a deep breath. Well, I guess he has learned one thing. Don't stand close to the edges, but apparently not to read. 16? Are you sure it wasn't 18? Well, let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18. Yep, it's definitely 18. And let's see, 3, 6, 9 sacks of whatever those are. Haha. Anyway, so I decided to head up the stairs here as I hadn't already, and it is a really cool view up here, and you will see that shortly. I decided to see if you can see these. This is a vital task. Our inventory is not going to count itself. It's not? When in doubt, it never hurts to consult the Skybuilders Board. Fun fact, I see this at least 3 times, and I even read it out 3 times to myself, and then I almost forget to go to the Skybuilders Board. When in doubt, check the Skybuilders Board. Yeah, I know. When in doubt, check the Skybuilders Board, as I paraphrase again. And then we move up here, and we can see people standing on the fence-ish thing. And I'm like, oh wow, that is a really nice view of the mountains in the background. We've got materials and spades, but we could use a few more hands. I'm like, can we go back here? Oh, we can. Up to that point, because there's an invisible wall. Okay then. Keeping inventory may not be a glamorous task, but it is a necessary one. Consider it done, Milo. Lord Chief. And I still don't see any of the people hanging over the edges, so I noticed the Lalafell is heading back over that way, so that told me that that person probably says something too. Hey, you up there! Don't forget to show the rookies how it's done! Leave it to me, Chief! And now to enjoy the view up here, as you will see, I jump up onto the other side of a post, or what will be a post. And like just looking down above all the different areas for the housing that you will assume will be was very pretty, but then zooming in and looking at the mountain area as well was also very pretty. And this is of course when I started taking some screenshots, because who couldn't at this point, because it looked really nice and cool. And of course the sun is coming out now, so that will have an even better view. I don't stay around up here for too long because I figure I will experience that by myself on my own, and others will likely be doing so as well. But I decided to take a look around as the sun was coming up, and you can see just how vast this area is. And it's made me realize I hadn't really explored, and as you can see there's some lag here as well because I took screenshots. I hadn't explored the main part of Ishgard and enjoyed the architecture, etc. without my UI on, because that does eat up a lot of the screen space. But as you can see, I decided to take a look around as well and enjoy some more rendering lag from recording because of the taking screenshots, and it shouldn't be affecting the recording of that much. But at this point I was going to end the video, and it was only after I did actually finish recording this part that I realized I didn't go to the Skybuilders Board, which you will see in just a second. And of course, here's the Skybuilders Board, and it shows us the new stuff that is occurring in this phase. And this is what we just did: clearing the debris, supply workstation, repair the damage, etc. Those were the previous two-part stages of this, which I didn't participate in. And then it shows you also the previous phases, and I noticed how short-ish the third phase was in comparison to the second phase, and that it told me why I missed a lot of it. And then I go back to this page, and it basically, that's about it for the Skybuilders board. So then I move over here to see where the area is, and you can see the area working just past that flag area there. And I zoom in and try to give a better view of it, which kind of works, but it also goes to show just how much this area has changed and how huge this area is, which I'm kind of surprised about. And hopefully there'll be aetherites available, shards that is, eventually. Anyways, that is it for this video. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and please also consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content like this. Anyways, that is it for this one. Thanks for watching!